Hello lovely nurses, this is Nurse Rowie. In today's video, I am going to show you kung ano yung routine ko and yung strategies ko kapag tumatanggap ako ng trabaho as an agency nurse in aged care here in Australia. I-discuss ko rin sa inyo kung ano yung mga expectations ng mga employers and then pay rates and kung ano yung mga tips and tricks ko para makasurvive sa shift ninyo. So I'm sure this is very informative and very inspiring para sa mga other nurses there na hindi pa talaga nakakapunta dito sa Australia or nakakapag-work as a registered nurse. So keep watching until the very end of this video. Let's get started. It's 4:30 in the morning on a Saturday here in Brisbane. I was offered a morning shift to work sa aged care, 20-minute drive from my home. I need to be there, ready to receive handover at 6:30 a.m. Just a quick explanation kung ano ba ang agency nurse. In Australia, an agency registered nurse refers to a nurse who works on a temporary basis through a nursing agency. These agencies provide nursing staff to healthcare facilities, including aged care facilities, on a short-term or fill-in basis. Agency registered nurses are often called in to cover staff shortages, leave, or busy periods when additional nursing support is required, such as Easter holiday, Diwali festival, and Christmas holiday. Now, these nurses have the necessary qualifications, experiences, and skills as a registered nurse, but work as independent contractor through the agency rather than being directly employed by the facility. Whenever I have to work, I always make sure na meron akong extra time para sa sarili ko so that I can enjoy my cup of coffee and do some errands and prepare some food na babaunin ko sa work ko. Hindi naman ako nagbe-breakfast usually kapag morning shift ang trabaho ko. So, this occasion, hindi ako kakain ng breakfast but I'm just gonna prepare my food for lunch and para din sa tea break ko. Usually in the morning, I just drink my black coffee while preparing my food or browsing the web using my laptop. I do intermittent fasting for at least 14 to 16 hours. I find it more convenient and I feel lighter when I don't eat breakfast na napakaaga. By the way, take note that when you work sa aged care, usually you have to bring your own food dahil wala naman cafe or kainan sa building. Napakadalang kang makakita ng aged care facility na may mabibilan ka ng pagkain. For my baon, I would usually just prepare simple protein, vegetables, carbs, and fruits. I also bring protein drink. I drink this on my first break. One, because first break is short and you need to have something that is filling and nourishing. It is also important na you bring real food to give you energy para sa busy day at work. And also, around this time, I double-check the details of my work na sinesend sa akin ng agency and I use my maps to estimate yung distance and time na need ko to drive from home to work and find parking spot as well. Before I accept an agency job, I do check if close lang yung location ng nursing home for convenience and safety reasons. Morning and afternoon shifts, okay lang na up to 30 kilometers away from home kapag weekend or school holidays dahil nga mild lang yung traffic. But sa night shift, I only accept 10 kilometers away from home kasi nga I don't feel safe when driving too far after work. My brain cells are all in clouds for sure. I have finished preparing my food na dadalhin ko sa work. Now, I have to go up and mag-prepare ng sarili ko and then yung mga things na dadalhin ko sa work. Now, it's time for my self-care routine. I brush my teeth and I rinse my face with water only kasi it's winter here in Australia at the moment and it's too drying for my skin if I use any soap in my face. I apply my facial serum and sunscreen and finally my lash serum. Very important for the ladies to grow those lashes. I don't put fragrances on because my residents could be allergic or sensitive and I don't want to apply makeup when I go to work. I want it to be simple and neat as much as possible because I find that when I put on makeup, I rub them accidentally. There's too much to maintain. So I decided to just look clean, tidy, and presentable. Speaking of presentable, it's important that you look presentable and professional because one, self-respect. If you have self-respect, then usually the people around you will respect you as well. Remember, you are new to the place and you want to make that good impression to the other staff and residents. The second reason is you need that good impression on your name because your name is your brand. This is helpful for you as an agency nurse because if they like you or they like how you present yourself and how you work, they will ask for you all the time when they need a nurse to fill the shift. This is the outfit that I wear when I work as an agency nurse. Different agencies have different policy about it. Some have their own logo sa damit, others are more flexible like sa case ko. The agency that I work with, ang gusto lang nila is yung scrub suit na top na may pockets para sa mga gadgets na kailangan kong gamitin, and then plain black pants and closed-toe non-slip shoes. I use head covers dahil my hair is just stubborn and I don't want to deal with it at work. And since COVID, we had to use PPE sa aged care lalo na kapag may mga outbreak, and it's such a hassle to fix your hair all the time. It saves me time and prevent touching my face during the shift. I also use a name tag that it's easier to communicate sa mga matatanda when you introduce yourself to them. They will remember you and call you by your name. I use closed shoes na easy to clean in case na mabasa ng mga alam nyo na kung ano. Time check, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. It's time for me to go. I've got everything I need for work, so tara na. I try to allow extra 10 to 15 minutes travel time ko para sa GPS setup and time allowance for mistakes ko. Tao lang po ako at nagkakamali sa pagliko, lalo na kapag sa mga motorway. Kapag na-miss mo yung turn, ang layo pa ng ito-drive mo bago ka makabalik sa tamang direksyon. Okay, let's discuss about the toll and traffic on weekends and school holidays. So, pag-usapan muna natin yung toll. When I drive to work, iniiwasan ko ang toll if may iwasan ko. But if it's unavoidable, I have my e-tag device. It's easy to register and set up your own account. Sa account namin, we set it up as automatic debit. So, each time na ginagamit namin yung toll, nagbabawas na sa bank account namin yung company. Marami na din kasing scammers na nagme-message sa'yo na you have an outstanding balance at all, so beware sa mga messages na yan. It will be safer if you just set it up as a direct account sa toll service sa Australia. Now, pag-usapan natin ng traffic. Traffic sa Brisbane at 6 a.m. on a weekend ay usually maganda kasi tulog pa karamihan ng tao. Pinakamatinding traffic siguro na dinanas ko nung nasa Sydney ako, but not here in Brisbane. Rush hour sa weekdays sa morning starts at 6:30, maybe until 9:30 a.m. That's the good thing about shift worker. Usually, hindi ka sasabay sa rush hour when halos lahat ng office workers and students bumubuhos. Mas maganda din ang traffic kapag walang pasok ang mga estudyante. Tinatawag nilang school holidays. Every season, may at least 2 weeks na holiday ang mga nasa primary and secondary. Dito, longest school holiday is sa summer, which is holiday season. They get to have mga 5 weeks walang pasok na, so mas nakakagaan ang flow ng traffic kapag ganun. It's 6:20 in the morning. I have 10 more minutes para pumasok sa loob ng building at hanapin ang staff na mag-guide sa akin. Sa work ko na to, I have no problem finding parking space. May mga aged care na malapit sa city na mahirap makahanap ng proper parking sa loob ng compound. Minsan you need to find street parking. It's important that you have extra time to spare for these issues. You can also ask the agency if my street parking or wala, so you can plan ahead of time. One less stress for you for that day. Dahil sa privacy concern and policy sa work, I can't bring my camera and show the whole place sa inyo. It will be a breach of my contract. But not to worry, I will give you here sa video ang detailed schedule ng trabaho ng isang agency RN sa floor sa aged care. I'm sure you will find value pa rin sa ipapakita kong typical work schedule ng agency RN sa aged care. From 6:30 a.m. to 6:45 a.m., that's the time that I receive handover from night shift RN, about 30 residents that I will look after for the entire shift, and any staffing issues like replacing staff who called in sick overnight. During handover, kinukuha ko na din ang information ng username and password ng computer, clinical systems for documentation, medication system for administering medicine. I ask information of any other RNs on site that will work sa ibang section and their phone numbers para I can call them when I need help like medical emergencies or just giving medications na Schedule 8 drugs such as Targin, Endone, and Morphine. Ang tip ko sa inyo, if you're going to do work in agency, get a detailed handover from the registered nurses who works there regularly. Ask them kung sino yung resident who needs medication, nasa strict time, either because of preference or medical directives. Ask sino ang may behavior that you have to take note of. Ask how they handle the behavior. Ask what time ang best time to start your rounds. Please note, not all night shift RNs have worked sa morning shift. Another best source of information as well is yung mga regular personal care workers na nag-work sa facility. It's important to not change the routine ng mga residents and start right on time para hindi ma-trigger ang mga issues or behavior that will delay you and other carers sa work nila. So around 6:45 to 7 in the morning, after ng handover, I check the appointment diary or appointment system ng aged care that I work. I make sure na I delegate all the tasks that needs to be done sa mga care workers na I work with and plan my day. I ask the staff kung anong time ang break time nila so that we don't go together para may matitira pa rin sa floor para ma-prevent ang falls. And then, I also delegate ang mga ibang tasks such as mga resident na dapat timbangin, mga resident na may mga appointment during that day, or mga resident na kailangan i-collect, say for example, ang urine nila for that day. Around 7 o'clock in the morning, I start my medication rounds with S8 drugs. Kailangan kong unahin to dahil I need additional nurse to come with me during these medication rounds. After nun, I have to start to give all the medications sa 30 residents na inaalagaan ko. So before commencing the medication rounds, I have to check yung trolley ko na gagamitin para mas maging efficient ako. I have to check yung mga gagamitin ko to give medication such as disposable spoons, pill cup, water cup, and gloves. I-add mo na rin yung mga water jug, pill crusher, and pill crusher pouch. Meron ding medication lubricant na ginagamit ng facility para easy swallowing sa mga resident na may problem sa swallowing ng whole pills or kapag kailangan mong i-crush yung medications nila, you need to have something like lubricant to help you mix the medication. And around this time, you also have to bring your BGL kit in your trolley. Halos lahat na ng nursing home ay gumagamit ng software such as BestMed or Medisphere. They use tablet or iPad to access yung details ng medications na ibibigay sa mga resident. Hindi na paper-based like a medication chart. It has its pros and cons. Isa sa pros na gusto ko is it's easy to find the resident sa system and it's faster. Hindi katulad sa paper-based na medication chart. Scribbles pati ng doctor are hard to read and hassle ang pag-carry ng buong file for 30 residents. Ang cons naman nito ay may time limit na nakaset. They will allow a total of 2 hours for you to administer medications.
Okay, time check. It's now past 9 o'clock in the morning. This is my first break. So, andito ako ngayon sa car kasi hindi ako pwede mag-film inside and there's no privacy there. So, kaya nandito ako ngayon. So, bago ako kumain, I want to quickly tell you about mga entitled na breaks sa aged care dito sa Brisbane, Queensland. So, there's 2 breaks na entitled ang mga agency registered nurses. So, they have tea breaks at saka lunch break. Usually, yung tea break is yung short lang, mga 15 to 20 minutes. Depends on your employer kung ano ang agreement nyo doon. And then, the long break, which is the lunch break, should be about 30 minutes. So, depende sa arrangement nyo sa floor kung anong time kayo kukuha ng first break nyo or second break, depende kung gaano ka busy, but you really have to plan ahead kung kailan kayo mag first break and magsi-second break.
When it comes to tea breaks, this is a paid break. You are allowed 2 separate 10-minute interval during each ordinary shift of 7.6 hours or more. Kapag naman less than 7.6 hours ang trabaho ninyo, each employee will be allowed to have 1 10-minute interval in each 4-hour period. Kailangan ninyong magkaroon ng mutual agreement with the staff kung what time nyo kukunin yung first 10-minute ng break nyo and yung second 10-minute ng break nyo. Kasi kapag sabay-sabay kayong nag-break, mawawala ng tao dun sa floor. Ako, I usually just take 20-minute break. Depende kung gaano ka busy yung floor. At kapag sobrang busy at wala kang time break, kailangan mo lang sabihin sa employer mo na you didn't get the chance to have a break because either someone had a medical emergency or talagang nahirapan ka sa mga task mo nung time na yon. It's always something na can be discussed sa employer mo and depende sa employer mo, they're happy to pay you for that. Regarding meal breaks, each employee who works in excess of 5 hours will be entitled to an unpaid meal break of not less than 30 minutes. Now, if your employer requires you na maging on-call kayo while you're on break, lalo na kapag night shift, kasi wala namang ibang RNs on the floor except ikaw, so kung may emergency kahit na break mo, kailangan mong i-attend yung emergency na yun, then you will be paid for that. Just make sure that your employer is aware of it. Always check your contract regarding sa mga breaks. That's important. After ng first break, I continue with wound management. When doing a wound rounds, I use wound trolley and nilalagay ko yung mga dressings na kailangan kong gamitin para sa mga wounds ng mga resident who are due for that day. Aged care, we aim to complete this task in the morning kasi there will be not enough time for the afternoon shift to complete wounds. They are going to deal with other things in the afternoon. After ko matapos yung wound rounds ko, then the next thing na ginawa ko is documentation. So, kailangan kong i-document yung mga wounds na ginawa ko and any behaviors na nangyari sa mga residents nung time na nagtatrabaho ako and other special notes like palliative care and administered PRN medications. For agency nurses, we are not generally expected to complete care plans kasi we really don't know the residents. Ideally, it's done by the regular RNs hired directly by the facility. I started the second medication rounds around 12 noon. The timing of this second round depends sa dami ng medications na ibibigay. Not all residents will have a midday medications. You can really gauge kung anong time ka magsisimula, depende sa dami. There are residents that are particular with their medicine, so I really attend to them and ask them kung anong time nila gustong inumin yung medicine. As long as it's not against the right timing ng medication administration, then I give it. Usually, Panadol ang common na medications they take around this time or fluid tablets.
Okay guys, time check. It's past 12:30 and this is my second break. Natapos ko na ang major na gawain ng mga registered nurses sa floor, which is medication rounds at saka wound rounds and some follow-ups. So now I have 30-minute break, so longer siya, which is good. I can talk about, before I eat, I can talk about yung pay rates, which is very interesting sa lahat ng mga taong hindi nakakaalam about kung magkano ba ang pay rate ng mga agency nurses, which is very, very good dahil agency nurses is very different sa mga full-time, part-time, and casual nurses. So, let's hear more.
There's so many things that we can talk about pay. Let's focus on what's around the agency nursing since that's our subject in this video. Agency RN earn a lot more than the regular RNs na nag-work sa aged care facility. You may be wondering now how much can you earn working for agency? Before I answer that question, let's define important terminologies to help you understand the basis of pay here sa aged care. Number 1 is base rate. Ang base rate is the hourly rate or salary that an employee earns before any additional payments are added. Your base rate depends on the level of your experience sa aged care. If you are an entry level, then you will receive lower base rate compared sa mga more experienced registered nurses. The second one is penalty rates. Ang penalty rates are higher pay rates that employees need to be paid for working particular hours or days in addition to the base rates. Now keep those definitions in mind for the next discussions. Now let's circle back sa question, how much can an agency RN earn? You can earn from $60 to $180 per hour, depende sa penalties that you will get. Take a look at my screen. You can pause this video and read it. I know na sa Pinas, we get paid the same no matter what time of the day or day we work, unless if it's overtime. Here in Australia, if you work after hours and weekends and public holidays, you will get more money. That's where the biggest portion talaga ng income ng nurses dito. But of course, this is hard work and you can get cancellations of shift. So para siyang mushrooms lang. But very in demand ang agency nursing kapag may major festival. I have worked like this for more than 5 years as my side hustle. Now after ko matapos mag-document, around 1:30, ginawa ko na yung final round of medications. Around this time, I will recheck kung sino ang may medication na natitira pa na need kong ibigay. So, usually, I recheck everything para wala akong ma-miss na medications. Kasi kapag may na-miss kang medications, definitely magiging incident report. And that's not gonna be a good feedback para sa work mo. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I gave the handover to the next registered nurse. So I just gave a usual handover of what I have completed and unable to complete. Then I have to hand them all my phones and keys that was given to me in the morning because I don't want to carry them sa bahay dahil kapag nadala mo siya sa bahay nyo, then you have to go back and give it to them. After I gave the handover, I had to check the S8 medications with the afternoon RN. Now, counting medications depends sa facility. Not all facility are checking it daily. Now, this highly addictive drugs is regulated and must be monitored. Kasi if hindi magtali ang count, we need to put an incident report and could be a reportable incident sa police. So around 2:30 p.m., natapos na yung pag-count ng drugs. Now, I can go home. And I'm done for the day. Whew. So it's 2:45 na in the afternoon and I'm really ready to go home. I am so thankful na ang mga staff na I work with was very helpful and there was no major drama during my shift. So I can say na talagang good shift ito. Madalang ka makakakuha ng ganito. Kapag nakakuha ako ng mga ganitong klase ng facility na maayos yung sistema nila at maayos yung mga staff, then I will let my agency know na I'm happy to pick up more shift dun sa facility na gusto ko. On my way home, dadaan muna ako sa servo para mag-fill ng tank ng car ko. Dito sa Australia, you have to fill your tank on your own. Unlike sa Pinas na may tikalagay. I fill my tank before I go home kapag less than half na sa indicator ko. On my way to work kanina, I surveyed mga petrol station or servo kung tawagin nila dito. I check kung alin ang pinakamura para kapag pauwi na ako, alam ko na kung ano yung pupuntahan ko. Usually, I just refill worth $50 each time kasi since last year, ang presyo is really high. And I can't really time the market, so I just put in the same amount each time I have to refill. Now that it's all done, I can go straight na sa bahay. I am finally home, guys! Hindi masyadong ma-traffic today, kaya... Hi! Kaya nakauwi din ako agad. So, after work, usually, maliligo ako and then mag-prepare ng food namin and then kakain and hopefully have some exercise para lang ma-stretch yung back and yung shoulder ko kasi it was a very long day. And hopefully, we get to bed early dahil pagod nga. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope by now you have a better understanding kung ano ba ang trabaho ng isang agency RN sa aged care here in Australia. If you like to see more videos about sa buhay ng Pinoy like me here in Australia, please consider subscribing and I will see you on the next one. Bye!